Modeling viewers, it's good old Terry coming to you from Hell's Armpit, where it is still, despite being almost into the second week of September, it is still in the 100s, the almost 110s. But 4 or 5 more weeks, it'll start cooling off for us. So anyway, it's been about 4 months. I thought, wow, I'm gonna make a video here. I've been kind of short on subject matter, so I had a few ideas here. Do you want to see a video on the aircraft I'm currently working on, the 1/32nd scale Tamiya Corsair? No? Alright, how about a video on polishing the plastic before you apply your metallics? No? Do you want to see a video on doing mottling on Luftwaffe aircraft? You know, the camouflage? Oh, you do? Okay, perfect. Because I just happen to have right here a fuselage half of a test dummy that I started out and did a little bit of practicing on, and I'll show you how that's done, or at least the way I do it. You glue sniffers here. A couple things are going to make a difference on how well this is going to work for you. Starting with paint, I'm using the lacquer paint and I'm using Mr. Leveling Thinner. I've mixed it in a cup. Now it's mixed thinner than normal. What I do is I thin it to where if I run, let me zoom this in because I want you to see this. Drop counting isn't really going to do you any good here. You want to mix to a certain look. So when I get the stick and I run the paint up the side, it should take about a second, maybe 2. See how that's quick that is? And it's pretty much clear when it's done. This is thinner than my normal way of mixing paint. And you can see this whole consistency of milk thing isn't going to work well for you here either, because this really has its own consistency. It's pretty darn thin. The big thing is, you know, mix it up well and then run it up the side. And then this quickly, 1, 2, just under 2 seconds, it's back down in the cup. And it's pretty much almost clear. So that's about the thickness you want with it. And I guess you can start with about 2 thinners to 1 water as a starting point, and then just adding thinner until it reaches this consistency here. You see, 1, 2 seconds, and it's already down in the cup. So faster than 1, slower than 2. It takes practice, but you'll get a hand for it. The next thing that's going to matter is your air pressure. I've got it set at about 10 psi. That seems to work well with me. I know some people go down to 6, some go as high as 12. 10 seems to work pretty well for me because of the length of the, I almost said length of my hose. The length of the hose going from the compressor to the airbrush. It's about 8 feet long, so I go a little higher because by the time I've squeezed it, it's down to about 9. I'm shooting this through an Iwata HPCS, and I'm very carefully taking off the crown cap. That's just this very front piece. Not both of these two together, just this very front one. And I'm going to be so darn careful because this needle can bump up against all kinds of things, including your finger, and bend it. And then you've got a big, expensive problem to take care of. So I'm going to mix up my cup of paint one more time. I'm going to pour it down in here. And then I'm going to shoot this without my fan because I don't want you to have to listen to it. And then what I do, just for good measure, and again, extremely careful. You don't have to do this, it's just something I do. Carefully pinch the needle from the sides, draw a little air so that it mixes inside your color cup, and then get it started shooting. And then I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to see if I got this right or not. Now the key is, another key is to keep the airbrush, start the airbrush and keep it moving. Don't let it hold still, because let me show you what happens if you let it hold still. Oh, you know what? Let me put my big, thick Waldo glasses on here to magnify everything so it looks even better. Now I can really see it. Okay, anyway, so let me get this where it's in focus. So if you hold it and then you start spraying, you're going to get a big old messy spider web here. See? It looks kind of messy. Let me see if I can get that to focus in a little bit with my pointing pencil. That's always helpful. There we go. So you got a big old, it's not a spider web, it is a splat. So the way that makes this work best is to start the air, start moving your airbrush, and then very slowly draw it back. as you're moving until it starts to show. And I'm doing this through my big thick Waldo glasses, so I'm out of focus. I hope I'm getting this right. And there's a splotch for you. All right. You see, it's got a little bit of a glisten, you see, because the way the light is. But maybe I should put my regular glasses on, or at least get up close to this and so show it. There we are. So let me try this again. I get a little closer now, you see, and I don't get that trail of not trail, but that little splash pattern. I don't really get that if I get a little closer. So you can see here I don't have that problem. Now this is shiny and glistening because it's got the retarding thinner, so it's going to take a little bit to dry. Once it dries, I'll show it to you again. It'll be nice and flat. But you see how, let me get my pointing pencil here. You see how over here I got that overspray, and over here I really don't because I got closer. So that's another thing I'm going to show you with a line here is your distance is going to matter. Again, squeezing the air, keeping the airbrush moving, and then slowly drawing it back till it starts appearing. There it is. It got a little bit carried away, but now I'm going to just draw the squiggle, and I'm going to get a little closer, and you can see I can get really, really, there you go, if I get a little more careful. The closer I get, the less I have to pull back. And I get these little lines. It's looking kind of not so great. I might have over-thinned this paint. Let me see if I can mix it again. There we go. Try that again over here from this angle. I'll see if I can do this right for you in the camera. I'm squeezing the air. I'm moving the brush back over. There we go. And the closer I get, you'll see the darker the line and the finer the line it gets. And as I move away, I have to pull it back a little farther for the paint to make it. So you can see here, a nice line, see? And then for the splotches, you can do one of two things. You can put the crown cap back on, like this. And this will bring more air into the mix and give you more of a, see the crown cap is back on there. And you can get a little more of a splotch easier. But the problem with that is you're going to have a little bit much of overspray. Let me get that focused again better. There you go. See, you got a lot of overspray. Whereas if I take that crown cap off and shoot it again closer, I can get right up to it and I can make a nice sharp one. It takes a little longer. See? It takes a little longer, but you can see it doesn't have, let me get the pointing pencil here for you. Sorry for this less than awesome camera work, but remember, I am a professional amateur. Come on, focus. Come on. Let me zoom out a little bit. Maybe I can get closer with it that way. There you go. Pointing pencil, do your thing. So you see it's got a lot of overspray and it's hazy versus sharp here because it's up close, see? And let's do this again with lines. Get up nice and close and see if I can keep this focused. I'm going to start this line. Here we go again. Now the temperature's down a bit. I had to put it in the freezer for a bit. So I'm going to start back here a little farther away. You can see if I turn sideways how far I am starting. And I'm going to bring it all the way to where I'm pretty much almost touching it. So again, starting with air and then moving the brush back and forth till I start to see, well, let me get this damn hose so it starts shaking the camera, to where I start to see a little bit of paint coming out. Here we go. And you see it looks really hazy and tough, and then I just get closer and back it up more and more so that I'm really close and just barely pulling it back, and you can see this line really stays consistent. And I can draw all day long like this. I can even draw my double R on here. R. R. There you go. So you can see now this. Remember, this doesn't look great because I am like zoomed way in. If I zoom out to normal distance, and show it to you. Looks pretty darn good. And again, it's splotchy. I'm doing this with my big Waldo glasses, so I'm not getting a good look as I'm filming, but let's just keep trying. Get that thing going. Keep the airbrush moving. Keep it moving. Then if I want to splotch, I just hold still in a spot. Not hold still, but I keep working a small area. Keep working the same small area. And eventually it builds up. And the closer I get, the less I pull. If I pull that needle back too far, you're going to see it get all sloppy. See that? Spider webs. And then if I get far up close, I just pull it back less and less. And that line is quite literally like a pencil up there, see? And as you put it to normal distance, there you go. So to the eye it looks really good, and to the camera zoomed up it looks okay, but not awesome. But again, this takes practice. Let's keep doing this line again. I'm up very close and I just barely pull on it. I might have overthinned this paint a little too. That's not helping. It's entirely possible that I made a mistake. It would be the first time. But you can see, just keep it moving. That's the secret. Thin paint, low pressure, small needle, keep it moving. And you can do whatever you want here. I got that pencil line going, so nice. Look at that. See that? It's all a matter of practice. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Okay, Rebel Rooster Mottling viewers, let me just move this camera really quick. It's kind of shaking because my chair's on it. But it's picture book story time here. So let me just show you a few examples of some camouflage, because I want you to get a takeaway of this. Is that, it was wartime. They tried to do everything the best they could, but sometimes, let me mess with my lights a little bit. See that? Nah, it's going to make it worse. They did what they had to do to get the job done, and so things didn't always come out perfect. So if it's not perfect on your model, it's all right. So for example, you're going to see differences in the quality of the camouflage on these things. Like for example, here where the lines are, let me zoom on in and you see what I'm talking about. So you can see the lines where they kind of messed up the front of this splotch here with their lines. Then they got a little better and a little worse, and it's just on that through the whole airplane. And on the very next page, you'll also see, that was that page. So let me go to the next page. It has one in there for you. So yeah, here we go. Sometimes you'll see in the background on this, look at these. Well, that's as close as I can focus. So you can see here, this doesn't really look super awesome either, see? Same on, what did I put on this page? That was, oh yeah, here's another one. On these, you can see on this, the quality of the lines and the splotches varies greatly along this one as well. And then some of them, they had pretty darn uniform all the way along. And then again, you'll see another one in the same breath where if you look under the cockpit, you'll see that one's barely done. This one's kind of done. It's got a little paint running off the bottom. And they even sometimes were in such a haste. Remember I said this is wartime. They had to do what they could do, and they had to do it pretty quickly sometimes. They were in such a haste that sometimes they would even, mottle right over the insignia, So where things go on in wartime. And you can see in this book here, let me back out again here. I got a couple examples in this one as well. After I beat up my camera and make you seasick from that, you can see on this picture here, why did I mark that one? Oh yeah, you can see a pretty good paint run. If I can zoom in a little bit, you can see a pretty good paint run off of this one. And back here a little bit on this page, you can see a lot of haze here, what looks like overspray, that you also see on these sometimes, like this one here and this one there, you know. And so sometimes when you're doing this, you're like, oh, well, it's not perfect, but it wasn't perfect in the on the actual aircraft either. But the important thing is that you got the look that you wanted. Let me get my lights back on here, and I'm going to put that thing back on display quickly. The big thing is you get it looking the way you want it, because ultimately you're the one who's got to live with yourself on whether or not you like it or not. And if you aren't happy until it's just right, and you want to keep pursuing it till it is, great. Good for you. That's the way I am. And if you just want to have it done so it's just on the shelf, hey, I finished it, there it is, look at it, that's great too, man. You're the one who decides what your standard is. So anyway, so here's a quick look, and then I'm going to strip this down and redo it again for another test later. So let's do the closing tour. All right, so I guess the takeaway from this is small needle. You don't absolutely have to use a 0.2 or something like that, but it definitely does help. The low pressure is a big deal. The thinner paint, the normal is a big deal. And practicing before you take it to the model is also pretty important. Don't use paper towels and pieces of paper. They're porous. The paint is always going to look perfect on those. You're going to want to practice it on some plastic or just something that it's not going to soak into. So if it's got too much pressure and it's going to spider web, it's going to spider web. That way you'll know what it's actually going to do on your model. Because I can practice this on a paper towel or a piece of paper and have the perfect pencil line, the perfect splotch. Then I take it to the airplane, and because it hasn't got fibers sucking the paint in as soon as it hits it, it spider webs, it just goes all over the place. So practice on plastic. If you don't have extra models or plastic, always just kind of turn the inside of an airplane part inside out and do it there. You know, you can try it there as well. Those are the two big things: lower paint pressure and a small needle, and the thinner paint than normal, and vary your distance from about, you know, I'd say maybe 3/4 of an inch all the way to maybe 1/4 of an inch or even closer if you're that careful. But watch out with that needle, and when you're done, even if you're gonna do anything with the airbrush out of your hand for even seconds, get that crown cap back on. Those needles are expensive, and even more expensive is the tip that the needle passes through, so be really careful. Now you can do this with the crown cap on, but it's not going to give you those really, really good up close lines that you're getting with the cap off, you know. So those are the big deals. But you know, you put it at normal distance, it looks pretty good. You bring it up closer and you start, and you really look for them, you're going to start seeing some imperfections. But those also did exist on the actual airplanes a fair amount of the time, so don't feel too bad. And remember, this is just an instructional piece. This isn't a model I was building for display. It was just a matter of seconds, and I was wearing my great big Waldo glasses here that were making it tough to see. So I'll probably catch when I'm proof watching this video that I didn't do the greatest camera work. But hey, man, I'm a professional amateur, right? So anyway, hey, I'll get something out again soon. If there's anything in particular you'd like me to be doing, put that in the comments. I do read the comments, and I reply when I can. Anyway, thanks for watching. Y'all take care. Happy modeling.